it's okay to not be okay. So it's creating that culture of acceptance, of understanding, and of really reaching people where they're at. As a principal, my job is to create a blueprint, come in with a blueprint, but really the final architects, the people that are building it, are the teachers and the other stakeholders within the school community. With technology, you have so much of the busy work that is being taken out. I think you really do need to focus on human, just being human and understanding.
Hello friends, and welcome to Voices of Education, where ideas meet experience. I'm your host, Saima Shah, co-founder at Synapses, your partners in education strategy and innovation. At Synapses, we work alongside schools and educators to drive innovation and transformation, build strong learning cultures, and spark innovation across the educational landscape. Our mission is simple: to elevate education through strategy and purposeful collaboration. I'm so excited to finally bring this podcast to life, a space where we can have real and meaningful conversations about education, leadership, and the ideas shaping the classrooms of tomorrow. We'll hear from principals, leaders, and educators about their journeys, their challenges, and the moments that defined them. My hope is that these conversations will not only highlight the incredible work happening in schools, but also inspire new ideas, collaboration, and a deeper appreciation of what it means to lead in education today. Our very special guest on this podcast is an inspiring educational leader whose work truly reflects the heart and soul of progressive education. So without any further delay, please join me in welcoming Ms. Blanca Hendel from Clarion School. Welcome, Blanca.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you here today.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
I'm very much looking forward to this conversation because I guess it's going to be the first episode and the most exciting as well. So by now, I kind of know a lot about you, but for our audience, could you describe your journey a bit and what inspired you to become an educator and eventually a school principal?
I am originally from Miami, Florida, and I began my journey in education back in 1998 as a cover teacher. And I was studying anthropology and sociology, very passionate about secondary social studies education. And from there, I started teaching at elementary school. In our case, we didn't have as many jobs available for social studies teachers at the secondary level. Right. And I have been working as a full-time teacher from 2004 to about 2012. During that time, I was an elementary school teacher and then a teacher of the gifted for students in grades 1st through 6th. And I became a middle leader in 2008 at a middle school that I was at for 2 years. So it has been an incredible journey from the classroom into leadership. I worked for the 3rd largest school district in the United States.
Wow, that's amazing.
That was a wonderful experience as a curriculum support specialist in science. So I'm very passionate about STEAM education.
Oh, wow.
In particular. And I joined a school that was underperforming as a transformation math coach with the mission of transforming their STEAM program, specifically in math.
Wonderful. So you've been in the classroom as a teacher, and now that you're leading a school, what difference do you see? I mean, being in a classroom as a teacher and now when you go into the classrooms as a leader, what is the major difference between the two?
Well, there have been many differences, and over the course of 2 decades, even more so. With the progress in technology, you see a lot more pedagogies that have emerged in the past, I would say 4 or 5 years, especially with AI. Right. I do see a lot more coaching happening in classrooms, mentoring. When I began teaching, that wasn't always the case. Right. So seeing middle and senior leaders in classrooms engaging directly with teachers and the students, modeling what practices we want to see in place. And that's what I'm most excited about.
That's so correct. I mean, we'll actually be touching this AI topic soon, but before that, so I would like to ask you that if you have to describe your leadership style in 3 words, what would they be?
I follow a servant leadership approach. So in my case, I am very much about serving my school community and working closely with those around me to bring forth the very best product. I believe in serving our children and ensuring that they have access to equitable education.
Wonderful. I think we were just discussing it before the podcast, and it
We
was
were.
an interesting conversation. So, as a leader, you wear so many hats. You are a motivator, you're a decision maker, a problem solver, and you do so many jobs, right? How do you personally strike that balance?
Well, one of the first things that I am very big about is prioritizing well-being for all members of our school community, our children, our teachers, but also for leadership, and
Right.
trying to find that balance between my work and my personal life. I'm a very big reader. I
Oh,
love
wow.
reading. I also collect vinyl records, so I take some time to myself, enjoy time with my family, and I
Wonderful.
find that that really does help with the balance.
Right, that's correct. So, I hope you remember we were talking about, how do you deal with your staff, your teachers, and everything. How do you keep your staff motivated, especially during the tough times or when burnout hits?
One of the things that we have been working very diligently on is avoiding burnout hitting.
Oh, wow.
So, really working collaboratively with staff, rethinking about what systems are necessary,
Right.
what we need to do for quality assurance, and then what is superfluous in the educational landscape. There is so much that sometimes we put on the plates of our teachers that it makes it very difficult for them to balance everything.
Yeah.
We are on a continuous feedback loop. So it's about sitting down, taking their feedback, implementing these strategies, and then having that open door policy where we park our egos, specifically as
Wow.
senior leaders. That's essential. And just take that feedback, because from there is that we really develop different things that help motivate teachers. Specifically, here we've created a well-being space
Oh,
where
wonderful.
teachers are not expected to go in and just use it for preparation. They can just sit down, and if they are overwhelmed, it's just a matter of sending a message and can I get some coverage for a few minutes? I need a few minutes to myself. We normalize that where we don't expect everyone to be fine all the time. It's okay to not be okay. And so we model that for our children, and it really has helped with that balance of well-being.
So, the name of our episode is Leading with Heart, and I guess that, hits the right chord. Um, in schools in UAE specifically, especially if we talk about the staff room, it's very multicultural. I mean, teachers come from so many different nationalities. How can leaders actually, create that shared sense of belonging and purpose beyond policies and procedures?
It's all about culture and taking and really ensuring that you're using culturally inclusive practices, getting to know people, understanding where they come from in order to then build the culture. I like to tell people that as a principal, my job is to create a blueprint, come in with the blueprint, but really the final architects, the people that are building it, are the teachers and the other stakeholders within the school community. Encouraging people to talk openly,
Yeah.
so that we don't practice isolation. Sometimes teachers feel very isolated, they feel alone, especially here in the UAE, where they may be here without their families. And
True.
that really, there's no work-life balance if your personal life, if your heart is halfway around the world somewhere
Whoa,
else.
yeah.
So it's creating that culture of acceptance, of understanding, and of really reaching people where they're at rather than where you expect them to be.
That's amazing. So inclusion is not only for students but for teachers as well, right? And this is something we
Absolutely.
all need to practice. Wonderful. Coming to students, do you think that this pressure to deliver high academic results, it sometimes conflicts with nurturing emotional well-being, both for staff and students? Do you have this in place here, or you think that the schools actually they put a lot of pressure both on staff and students that they have to have certain grades, they have to achieve this results because, of course, it is going to affect the rating of schools as well.
Right. With us, we try to find a balance. And the way that we do that is the triangulation of data. So we collect qualitative and quantitative data. It goes beyond just the assessments that are external benchmarking, but rather we also collect qualitative data on emotional, on well-being, using assessments such as the PASS survey to check for attitudes of learning. We use another tool called Komodo, which also helps with finding where the child is at mentally. And if they have any issues, they bring that up. We don't prioritize grades and marks. Our goal is really a holistic approach at all times, not just when it's not assessment season.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, our students really have a strong understanding that the adults in the building genuinely care about them, care about their growth. We do a very big effort when it comes to personalizing learning about their learning styles, how they approach education, and meeting them there so that they feel supported, and it is truly then an inclusive environment.
Wonderful. So I see that you're there for your staff and students. Who's there for you? I mean, that's an interesting question I had, in my mind, and I wanted to ask, like, how do you keep yourself motivated? I mean, of course, it's a very tough job, right? As a leader, you have to stand tall for your students, for your staff. How do you keep yourself motivated? Who's there for you?
I am very lucky. I have a wonderful support system, starting with family. That's first and foremost. My husband is incredibly supportive of all of my dreams, which I'm very fortunate for, as are my adult children. But I also have a wonderful relationship with the owners of the school, and I have an amazing relationship with my teachers. And it goes back to that feedback loop that I was sharing about. We feed back to one another, and I have had so many incidents of kindness from my staff where if they see that I'm feeling a little bit down, they're the first ones to tell me, remember what you tell us, it's okay to not be okay. And they are very much the first people to jump in and help out. I have an incredible parent community.
Oh, wow.
That also
Sweet.
keeps me very motivated. They have been wonderful in every single sense, and they are a fantastic support.
Yeah, I actually saw it as I entered this morning. Coming to parents, actually, so parents are very well informed these days. Rather, they are more demanding. How can schools actually build a trust-based relationship with parents?
I believe in being as transparent as possible and keeping parents very informed. I had shared a little bit with you this morning about ensuring that parents have a strong understanding of what's happening in a school. They should know what's happening in their child's education. I believe that we should be informing parents when children are doing things that are good, when children are in a positive headspace.
Yeah.
It's essential for us to really be partners in education with our parents, and they are much more informed, and they should be. I feel that connection really helps when a school is going through situations or changes. Keeping parents informed should always be one of the first things in our minds, because that also helps us support the child at home. It's all about that educational journey for the child.
That's correct. Because parental support, I guess schools, they work as a triangle, right? So the parents are, they're one corner, which has to be really strong when it comes to education of children. So moving forward, I had this question in my mind, and I thought I'd ask you, have you ever faced a situation with a parent where you were unable to, handle it, or was it difficult for you, or perhaps overwhelming, how you dealt with it? Perhaps our audience would be able to, take some lessons from here.
I have had many situations with parents that have been difficult. We're all human, and honestly, that's where I approach it first. We are human.
Yeah.
And even when situations are difficult, both parents and leadership are focused on one thing, which is what's best for the child. And that's what I try to do. I try to move all of the attention back to where it belongs, which is the well-being of the child be doing well, and ensuring that they are getting the services that they need so that they are successful. It is difficult sometimes to park our thoughts and ensure that our biases don't come into play.
Yeah.
But it is also important to continue communicating. It's only when we communicate that we are able to get through those situations.
Right.
So that's what I find is very important with parents.
Yeah. So having transparent relationship with parents is the key to success in leading schools, I believe. All right. So we talked about the use of AI and everything, right?
We did.
I think the world is transforming so quickly, and AI is the new buzzword. How AI is transforming classroom practices, teachers' lesson planning, or even helping the leaders in schools. How do you think it's working?
It's transforming it at every level. So one of the things that I have really enjoyed with AI is the ability for a teacher to create lesson plans that are meaningful, that are stronger than ever, looking for different activity structures, especially to reach those learners that may have more difficulty, or for our gifted and talented. That is equally as important. I think AI is going to be pivotal in how we continue to personalize learning.
Right.
The days of being the sage on the stage and just dictating and working out of notebooks, those days I feel are numbered. I think it is a different world that we're living in. Interacting with artificial intelligence is now going to be moving from just a tool that we use to something that will become part of our everyday, very much like it was when more people began using the internet. There was a very big panic,
Yeah.
will people go back and believe everything that they're reading on the internet? And now we can't imagine a world where the internet isn't in our pockets. And that wasn't the case 20 years ago.
Or Chat GPT, I mean, if I could put it correctly, because that is the go-to, not
Tool.
only for the educators, but everyone out there, right? How important is it for the teachers to, plan their lessons accordingly? Do you think teachers actually go into the classroom without planning as well? Does it happen?
I think it used to happen with more frequency. I
Okay.
think that where we are now, it shouldn't be, because we do have a plethora of tools at our disposal
Yeah.
to really help focus. I also think that the way that leaders are working with teachers, so now I'm not speaking just for myself, I'm speaking for leaders around the world. You do have a more hands-on approach.
Yeah.
Where there are quality assurance checks. We are looking at lesson plans, ensuring that they are meaningful. And I think that has made a very big difference in classroom practice.
Right. So now that we are talking about tech, what responsibilities and opportunities do schools have as tech becomes deeply integrated into school practices?
I think that we need to ensure that we are very clear as to the ethical use of technology.
Yeah.
How we are going to use it, ensuring that it's intentional, not just picking up a brand new technological tool or a new AI tool because it's convenient. We need to understand what are the ethical ramifications and how are we going to transmit that to our students and their understanding of how to use technology in a meaningful way.
Wonderful. That's really nice. So I now have some fun questions for you because
love
we have
that.
talked so much about, education and students and teachers. Now, I want you to tell us, any memorable incident or event that you have had with any staff member or students. Now, I'm very excited for this answer, actually. Let's see.
Well, I have a wonderful relationship with my teachers. And at the beginning of the last school year, I made the mistake of leaving my laptop open. So I'm very big about taking pictures of the everyday. I always check with everyone, do you consent to having your image shown and everything else? So they all know that I'm big about storytelling and sharing those images and sharing what is the story of our day-to-day life here. And what the teachers did was they noticed my laptop was open and I had a series of pictures that they turned into my background, my wallpaper. I didn't realize this, so they had closed my laptop. Of course, I had forgotten, and so they took these pictures with making funny faces and silly
Okay,
faces.
wonderful.
During induction, I opened to start my next CPD, and there they were, my teachers making silly faces, and it just made it a really enjoyable experience.
Wow.
They definitely got me back.
Wonderful. Any incident with any of the students?
Well, the students, I'm going to go back for 20 plus years.
Oh.
And I had a very special class. And for my birthday, they knew that I liked balloons. I was working in an area of Miami that was very underprivileged. But they pooled their money together and they inflated these balloons and they filled our classroom with balloons. So when I arrived early in the morning, there were all these balloons everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. They were everywhere, and it was just something that brought me a lot of joy, but a lot of heartache, because then I had to move those balloons outside of the classroom to be able to teach.
Right, wonderful. I mean, I enjoyed these stories so much. So, Blanca, what is one message that you would want to give to young educators aspiring to become leaders someday?
Take it one day at a time and really listen to all of the stories, everyone. From the teachers that are frustrated, you need to listen to their stories because as a future leader, you will have to. To the teachers that find a lot of joy and take the time to really sit and converse with others because it is a difficult job. Leadership takes a lot out of you, but
Yeah.
it can also be equally rewarding. And having that understanding of why you want to enter leadership, if it is just because you'd like a title, it won't work.
Yeah.
Transactional leadership doesn't work. But really having an investment in people, taking that time, that's something you'll never regret.
That's wonderful. So you earlier mentioned, the servant style leadership, right? So what kind of leadership do you think schools need today? More traditional, more collaborative, more human centered? What kind of leadership do you think work really well for schools?
I think where we are now, especially again with technology, you have so much of the busy work that is being taken out. I think you really do need to focus on human, just being human and understanding. So collaborative. There isn't just one expert in the building. We have a building full of experts, and really taking that time to engage in conversation, to engage in continuous improvement and learning. I think that's fundamental. Looking at what we have, how do we transform it? How do we make it better? How do we move it to that next level? I think it's those styles of leadership that are going to be much more prevalent. And I think that that's already the case. We are on our way there versus I show up and I expect you to do this job and collect your paycheck. That is not as successful.
Yeah, that's correct. So just one last question before we sum it up. Do you think educators, around the schools, they need to collaborate with each other? They need to open up more, to talk about what problems have they been facing? Perhaps, like we were discussing, that sometimes a new perspective can actually help you realize that, okay, this is the solution I was looking for, and I did not think of it before. But now that this person has talked about it, I now look at it from a different angle. How important it is for educators to actually collaborate with each other and actually open up about, what they have been going through.
It's imperative. It is one of the things that's the most important. A lot of the burnout comes from teachers feeling alone, feeling overwhelmed, feeling overburdened. And when we take the time to open up and collaborate, you are able to not only draw strength from your colleague, but also draw knowledge from your colleague and be that level of support for someone else. So it is in that collaboration and working together that I think is going to help people stay in this beautiful profession for years to come.
Yeah, that's correct. And with that said, we'll be winding it up because I asked for 30 minutes only, and I am looking at the watch again and again that, I have to wind it up. Thank you so much, Blanca, for doing
you.
this. This was a wonderful conversation. Thank you to our audience for tuning in. I hope all of you who have watched this episode, you're walking away with fresh perspective and meaningful takeaways. Keep watching Voices of Education for more amazing stories from different educators around the country. Thank you.